Time once again for Habs Fan Reaction with your host, Matt the Habs Fan. Well, another good news, bad news story as the Montreal Canadiens, after the last two games, once again have just come away with 2 points. However, they were a sweet 2 points because those two were gained against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Well, let's talk first about the Sharks game. Obviously, a frustrating game for any Habs fan to watch. Clearly, the Sharks are continuing their dominance against the Montreal Canadiens. Uh, well, the thing that really was costly for Montreal in that game was the fact that they took some really poor penalties and gave up goals. Couldn't stop the power play of the Sharks. So, I mean, what you gonna do? The Sharks didn't come away from their Eastern road trip with all the points. Some teams beat them, but overall, against Montreal at least, whether in the East or the West, the Sharks for the last I think 9 or 10 games have been very dominant. So, well, maybe we can call that a bit of a litmus test. If in future, as the team is improving, and they are improving, if we start to see Montreal doing better against the Sharks, well, that'll be an indicator to us that they are improving and that they're becoming more dominant and that perhaps they're more of a contender. So let's keep an eye on that. A little discouraging to watch that game, although I thought that Montreal played pretty well. There were some costly penalties. They were a little bit out-muscled. Um, couldn't really play their game. Once again, having problems with that zone clearance issue, not being able to get the puck out, allowing too much cycling in their own zone, which is never good. But without those penalties, that's a 2-2 tie game going into overtime. So maybe a little bit more disciplined play, a little better strategy, maybe a little better preparation for teams like the Sharks, who are going to come in and play a really strong physical game, and we'll see a different outcome. Let's move on to the Leafs game. Now that was enjoyable. Is there anything better on a Saturday night than to watch Montreal and Toronto fight it out and to see the Habs win? I don't know. I don't think so. I greatly enjoyed that game. Loved Montreal's energy in the first period, coming out strong, scoring 2 goals. Beauty by Gallagher. That's just a Gallagher-esque goal that he scored there. A fighting goal up against 2 defenders in the crease. Comes away with it, pinballs his way in there, manages to score a goal. That was a beauty. In the second, of course, the Leafs really rebounded, started to fight back, scored 2 in a row, tying the game at 2, and they were all very good goals by the Leafs, I thought. But in the third, Montreal really put on a show. Starting out with Joel Armia, what a great goal on the early in the third period there by Joel Armia. What a player he's turning into. And, you know, I think over the last couple of years, we've really seen him show some of these little flashes of greatness. I could see that, to me, he was on the cusp of being something special. And here he is, really developing into that player that we hoped to see. So that is super awesome to see. All the best to Joel Armia, and you know, he's on pace for a 40-goal season now. Whether or not that happens is, still to be seen, but really encouraging and really great to see him playing so well. And I think the whole team is playing really well. What about Drouin? Awesome. Awesome. So great to see Drouin playing to his potential. We knew that it was in there, and now he's coming out and really showing some flair. And that's bound to make the Quebecois faithful very happy as well. So it makes me happy too. Dominant performance in the third period. 3 goals unanswered to win the game 5-2. And really, you know, some people on the Leafs side were blaming Babcock for playing Hutchinson. I think that's a bit of a cop-out. Apologies to Steve Dangle, but come on now. Hutchinson played well. He's a good goalie. He was hung out to dry by a team that admittedly was probably fatigued, a bit overtired, but really, if I was a Leafs fan, I'd be a little worried about my team right now. What's happening in that dressing room? What's going on with the coach-player relationship? Not really sure. They've got a lot of talent, but without Tavares, they've been a bit of a dog's dinner, haven't they? Really not consistent, not living up to their potential, looking kind of frustrated out there. And so, anyway, as a Habs fan, we'll take it. We'll continue that traditional dominance over the Leafs. Thanks very much. Anytime. Had some friends there at the game. Made me very envious. They had VIP passes and really enjoyed themselves. He's a Habs fan. She's a Leafs fan. I had to tweet them a little bit. I had to give them a bit of a hard time, but well, not him, but her about the win. But love to make it up there for a game myself at the Bell Center one of these days. One of these days we'll pull it off. A little more about Hutchinson there. I sent a message to Steve Dangle. I'm not sure if he saw it, but my thoughts about the game plan of Babcock in playing Hutchinson the second game of a back-to-back against Montreal on Hockey Night in Canada twice in a row is, frankly, I don't think that the Leafs organization respects the Habs organization or were respectful of the Habs organization after being so dominant against us the last couple of years. I think they're thinking, oh, well, it's just Montreal. We'll play the backup goalie. Well, you know what? Montreal has made a few strides since last year, if you ask me. And I think we have a better overall team spirit. Definitely a better effort level out there on Saturday night anyway. And came away with the win. I wonder, now let's just keep our eyes on this. The next game against the Leafs, will they play Hutchinson again or will they play Anderson? Let's see. Until then, go Habs go.